Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Today is our feature unit for the month of November, and we're talking about the world's most famous mouse. Who could that be? Could it be Danger Mouse, maybe? Or maybe you've heard of other mice out there.
Mighty Mouse?
Mighty Mouse, indeed. Or it could be the mouse you use on your computer to move your little cursor around the screen of your monitor. But no, we're talking, of course, about Mickey Mouse, which you all know and love. Most of you probably, well, I wouldn't say most of you. I'd say maybe some of you actually love this mouse quite a bit. But a lot of people may be indifferent about Mickey Mouse. I personally don't really like Disney characters myself. I prefer Warner Brothers cartoons, but that's my own personal preference.
And, of course, you can't forget little Minnie Mouse, his girlfriend. But we're going to be focusing on Mickey Mouse, who is a creation of the Walt Disney Company, of course, and talk about how he came into being. And so we're going to get started, as we always do, by reading through today's lesson. Three circles put together form one of the world's most easily recognized logos. They're the head and ears of Mickey Mouse, who serves as the premier character mascot for the Walt Disney Company. Mickey's journey to popularity began 93 years ago, and it has culminated in his current status as one of the world's most famous cartoon characters. Before Disney was a giant of the global entertainment industry, it was a studio with only two animators, Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks. Walt and Ub had worked for Universal Pictures, where Walt had conceived of the hit character Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. The two men left owing to a contract dispute, and Universal kept the rights to Oswald. After late nights in the studio, and a lot of sketches, Walt and Ub came up with a new character, Mortimer Mouse. After a name change to Mickey, the courageous little mouse made his public debut in Steamboat Willie, a landmark smash hit cartoon. Released in 1928, it was the first cartoon to integrate sound effects that matched the action on screen. Mickey began appearing in more cartoons, then branching out into TV shows, comic strips, and appearances at theme parks. Mickey is portrayed as a simple and considerate character in his many animated adventures. These characteristics make him sympathetic and are part of the way that he has become known to millions around the world, while also explaining his enduring popularity. In just 7 more years, he will turn 100 and enter what is guaranteed to be his second century of success.
Okay, we're going to talk about the world's most famous mouse, Mickey Mouse, and he turns 93 this year. So, how do you identify Mickey Mouse? Well, 3 circles put together form one of the world's most easily recognized logos. That's true. Just take one big circle and draw 2 little smaller circles to the upper left and to the upper right, and that symbol, of course, represents Mickey Mouse.
That's right. I think he's cute, but his voice always irritated me. You know, I think it's the voice of a guy speaking in an upper register. Yeah, I can't even do it because I'm a woman, but yeah, it wasn't my favorite voice. I did like Minnie. I thought her eyelashes were hilarious, but we're going to focus on Mr. Mickey Mouse today. So yeah, it doesn't take much to create him. But once you create something this memorable, you probably just set yourself up for life. You can make a lot of money if you come up with a great character. So it takes 3 circles put together to form one of the world's most easily recognized logos. All companies have logos. It's just kind of a way to remember a company through some sort of picture or graphic alone. So they're the head and ears of Mickey Mouse, as Tom explained. And Mickey Mouse serves, who relates to or refers back to Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse, who serves as the premier character mascot for the Walt Disney Company. Now, if you're a premier anything, it means you're one of the best out there, maybe the most important. For example, premier, just so you know, is an adjective that has to be used in front of a noun. So this is an adjective found only in front of nouns. So I could say the W Hotel is one of the world's premier hotels, one of the best in the world. So premier here, a premier character, one of the best known, most important. He's definitely the most important for the Walt Disney Company. And a mascot, as you probably know, is usually an animal or some sort of character that also symbolizes a company or maybe even a sports team. For my high school that I graduated from, we were called the Toros, and we actually had a bull, a real live bull that was our mascot.
Yeah, actually the mascot for my high school was the midget, which is pretty weird. It just means a really small person. They still have that mascot to this day.
Did someone dress up like that?
No, they usually had some guy dressed up like a big muscular wrestler or something like that.
Oh, okay.
What that has to do with a midget, I have no idea. But
I don't know.
In any case, yeah, mascot is just some kind of a character that represents something. Japan loves their mascots, of course. Every city and every ken or prefecture in Japan seems to have a mascot. I guess the most popular one is Kumamon from, what's that place called? Someplace on Kyushu Island. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, Kumamon is, of course, a very popular mascot from Japan. And, of course, Bugs Bunny, of course, is the main or the premier character for Warner Brothers cartoons. But in this particular case, of course, Mickey Mouse is the premier character mascot for the Walt Disney Company. And Mickey's journey to popularity began 93 years ago, and it has culminated in his current status as one of the world's most famous cartoon characters. So in this sentence, we have the word culminate, which means it kind of has reached a peak. It's reached a climax. And so at the end, that's what happened after Mickey Mouse began appearing in cartoons, and he has been appearing in cartoons for such a long time that eventually he became the main mascot that represented Walt Disney. Whenever you hear Walt Disney mentioned, there's going to be a picture of Mickey Mouse somewhere.
Oh, typically, yeah. So before Disney was a giant of the global entertainment industry, it was a studio with only 2 animators. Disney here is referring not to the man Walt Disney, but to the company or his studio that he started off with. He didn't have Disneyland to begin with. He just was the co-owner of a small studio, and it had 2 animators, Walt himself and Iwerks, which is an interesting name. Entertainment is a word we usually use to talk about a big group of things that are amusing to us or that make us entertain us, interest us, amuse us, all of those things like films and plays and sports. And there are lots of ways to get your kind of entertainment in your life. For me, entertainment includes movies and TV shows and reading. Entertainment could be just reading a book or watching a sporting event. All of those are ways that we get our entertainment. So sometimes there's live entertainment, which you'll sometimes see in newspapers or on advertisements, and that means that the entertainment, whatever it is, maybe it's a band, they're performing live, it's not recorded.
Right, that's the noun, of course. The verb is to entertain. Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. That's what these characters do. They entertain us and they give us entertainment. So Disney, of course, is a giant of the global entertainment industry. But before that, it was a studio with only 2 animators. An animator, of course, is a person who makes cartoons. Basically, they take the drawings and they take a picture of it, then they move it a little bit, they take another picture of it.
They use computers now, Tom.
Exactly. This is the old animators, though, but that's what they were doing back then. But yes, indeed, they had 2 animators, Walt Disney and Iwerks. What a name, huh? And Walt and had worked for Universal Pictures, where Walt had conceived of the hit character Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and the 2 men left owing to a contract dispute. and Universal kept the rights to Oswald. There are various studios, of course, in Hollywood. Universal is one of them. That's the one that shows the world spinning. That's Universal. But they were there for a while there, but then they left because they had this contract dispute. So that just means they had a conflict regarding their contract. They couldn't agree on a salary or on a contract. They said, we're not working here. You're not paying us enough. We're doing great work and you're making money from us, but you're not giving us enough salary, so we're going to quit. So yes, indeed, they had that contract dispute.
I wanted to mention this is a noun that we're using here, a contract dispute. If you use it as a verb, there are different prepositions you can use, like a dispute over something or a dispute between people. You use that a lot when people get into some sort of argument, some sort of disagreement. This, of course, was about money, I'm assuming. So the problem with leaving a company like Universal Studios, though, is that everything that you created while you were working for them belongs to the company. It does not belong to you. So if you're going to invent something or create a really great character, don't do it while you work for a big company. Because when you leave, they own the rights. They own the permission to use what you created, and you do not.
Indeed, so Universal kept the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And how many people have heard of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit? I'm sure you can find some information on the internet, but of course, Walt and Ub were laughing all the way to the bank after they left Universal. That brings us to
well, they hadn't come up with Mickey by then.
They hadn't yet, but eventually they struck it rich with Mickey Mouse, and we'll talk about that as our lesson continues, but right now we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
大家好，我是派老师。今天讲解的是11月份 Unit 11 The world's most famous mouse turns 93 this year. 这个单元是一篇克漏字测验，文章介绍的是家喻户晓的卡通人物 Mickey Mouse。他从1928年推出至今，已经过了93个年头。这篇文章简单的介绍了米老鼠的过往。好，我们现在来解题。先看第一题空格前后的句子，前一句也就是文章第一段第二句 They're the head and ears of Mickey Mouse, who serves as the premier character mascot for the Walt Disney Company. 句子开头主词的 they 指称的就是第一句的 three circles put together 放在一起的三个圆圈，它们是米老鼠的头和耳朵，而逗点后的 who 代替米老鼠。这边是非限定修饰的用法。米老鼠是 Walt Disney 公司的首要角色吉祥物。Character 角色这个字前面的形容词 premier 是主要的、最重要的意思，等于 leading。当名词用就是总理，请记住哦。好，现在看第一题的题干 Mickey's journey to popularity 这个句子。这句子呢，题干是米奇93年前踏上星途，已经登峰造极。目前呢是全世界最出名的卡通人物之一，这是米奇目前的。好，我们看选项 A obstacle 障碍 ，B 地位 ，C 娱乐 ，D 同伴。根据前后文判断全球知名度，这应该是米奇的地位，所以第一题选 B status。紧接着第二题，前一句 Walt and Ub had worked for Universal Pictures 这个句子，这是什么意思？他们曾为环球影业工作。Walt 在那里构思了热门角色幸运兔奥斯华。好，现在看第二题的题干 The two men left blah blah blah。这句话的中文意思是两人空格合约纠纷离开，而环球公司保留对奥斯华的版权。我们一起看一下四个选项的意思。A unlike 是不像 ，B in spite of 是尽管 ，C as for 是至于对或者说对什么人来说 ，owing to 是因为。那根据前后文意，第二题选 D owing to， 也就是说他们两人因为和环球的合约纠纷而离开。我们紧接着看到第三题 after late nights 这个句子。这个句子的意思是在工作室熬夜和设计大量草图后 ，Walt 和乌布他们怎么样呢？一个新角色，就是叫做 Mortimer Mouse。我们一起看一下这四个选项的意思。好 A. put up with 是忍耐忍受 B 是用完了什么东西 C. came up with 是想出什么 D 则是利用。好，本句前半句 after 引导的副词子句指出 Walt 和 Whoop 夜以继日画出无数草图，空格后是 a new character， 可知答案选 C came up with 表示他们努力以后终于想出了新的角色。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about the world's most famous mouse, which is Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse turns 93 this year. We're counting his, his age from the day that his first debut took place. A debut is the first time you appear publicly, but we're counting back to the time where Mickey Mouse first appeared in a cartoon, and we'll get to that. So we learned that Walt Disney first worked for a different company called Universal Studio, and he had been working as an animator, so he was a graphic artist. He drew animations, but then he got into a contract dispute with that company, and he decided to leave. So he left Universal Pictures, and with him, another guy left as well, Iwerks, and these two guys were friends, and they set up their own studio. And they came up with the character, which was originally named Mortimer Mouse. Not quite as catchy as Mickey Mouse. He had a name change, and that's when he became Mickey. But they made him into a courageous little mouse. So Mickey became a well-loved mouse throughout the years. So we know that Iwerks worked together with Walt to create this particular character. Now, when you talk about how it was created, you learn about how much time it took. You know, people who want to do well and succeed in life often have to work very hard. And it looks like these two men really had to work hard too.
That's right. So, of course, they came up with this new character. His name was Mortimer Mouse. Mortimer. I hope I said that right. That's really an old name. Yeah. I don't believe I know anybody with this first name. I know a Mort.
Name. Yeah.
I've heard Mort before.
A journalist. Well, he's a Mortimer.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Of course,
okay,
yeah.
Very good. But when I was growing up, I never knew a Mortimer. They could have called him maybe Monty Mouse or maybe Mitchell Mouse or something like that.
Mikey Mouse.
Indeed. Or maybe they could have decided to make their main character a girl there. It could have been Mary Mouse or Melissa Mouse. But hey, they went with Mickey Mouse. And the rest is history. So after a name change to Mickey, the courageous little mouse made his public debut in Steamboat Willie, a landmark smash hit cartoon. So, okay, they figured out the name. He's going to be Mickey Mouse. And they described him as being courageous, which means he's brave. He's not afraid of anything. And he made his first appearance in Steamboat Willie, which I believe came out in 1928. And if you see Disney movies nowadays, or if you see a Pixar movie, they'll always start with that short little logo, I guess, at the beginning that shows a scene of Steamboat Willie whistling while he's driving a boat.
Yeah, if you can go online, of course, you can see Steamboat Willie. It's very old-fashioned. It's black and white. It's what they were able to make back in the 1920s. I wanted to mention with courageous, brave is the synonym, and we tend to use brave more in just spoken English, everyday English. Courageous means the same. They both mean that you're doing something that's a little bit scary, but you go ahead and deal with it anyway. Maybe you're doing something that's dangerous or painful, but you go ahead with confidence even when you're scared. So, courageous little mouse, Mickey made his debut. We talked about how debut is the first time you ever appear in public or perform in public. That was his debut in Steamboat Willie. If it's a landmark, usually talk about a landmark being something like a big building, like 101 is a major landmark in Taipei. Or another landmark could be a tree or something that just stands out to people that they navigate around. But here it just means it was an event or something that developed in their own personal life, maybe their career, that was like a turning point for them. It's when everything started to go right, and maybe that was your breakthrough moment, your big moment. So this was a landmark smash hit. Smash hit just means some sort of, usually it's a film or a book, an album that does very well on the market. It was a smash hit cartoon. People loved it.
And it was released in 1928, and it was the first cartoon to integrate sound effects that matched the action on screen. So I guess before that they had silent movies and silent cartoons, or maybe they had them with just music or something like that, but this one actually integrated sound effects, and they would match the action on the screen. If you integrate things, you make them work together. You mix them together, so of course you have the image on the screen, and then you had sound going on with it. So they integrated the sound effects and they matched the action on the screen. So if a balloon popped, you would hear a sound like that.
Yeah. They were mostly just, they didn't have sound in film for a while, and they were just usually, they'd have somebody playing the piano. To accompany the film, but this was a pretty big deal to have sound effects that matched what was going on. So Mickey began appearing in more cartoons, and then, as you all know, he branched out into other areas like TV shows, comic strips. Oh, those must have been a while back. I haven't seen any Mickey comic strips, but he also would make appearances at theme parks. Even today, I went to Disneyland 2 years ago. I guess it's been 3 years now. And they have, the characters wandering around. Mickey's one of them. He never talks, but he'll put his arm around you and you can take a picture with him. So, yeah, that's a theme park. A Disneyland is a type of theme park. So, moving on to the final paragraph, it says, Mickey is portrayed as a simple and considerate character. He's considerate. Yeah. In his many animated adventures, he's never a bad guy. He's kind of like Chow Hu. Chow Hu always does the right thing and is always kind and friendly. That's a Mickey Mouse kind of personality. If you portray something, here it just means you're representing somebody. You're usually representing somebody in a play, or that's how somebody is depicted or portrayed. Oh, he's portrayed as being a very wealthy man. So that's how they are describing him or representing someone. So he's represented as being a very simple, he's always happy, and considerate character. What does considerate mean, Tom?
It means you're polite, you're respectful of other people, you're trying to help them out and stuff like that. You're not trying to make fun of them or play dirty tricks on them like Bugs Bunny does. Bugs Bunny's more of a smart aleck, but Mickey Mouse is just a nice mouse, He's considerate, he's polite. Thoughtful indeed. Maybe that's why I don't really like him so much, because such a character in a cartoon is rather boring. But in any case here, lots of kids like that, and these characteristics make him sympathetic and are part of the way that he has become known to millions around the world, while also explaining his enduring popularity. So yes, these are his characteristics, and they make him sympathetic, which means you're sensitive to what other people are thinking, how they're feeling and stuff like that, especially if they're sad or something. You try to make them feel happy, and that is something that contributes to his popularity. It's part of the way that he has become known to millions of people around the world. So yeah, the way or the method or the result of all these things, and that just means that it has had some sort of effect on how people like him.
Yeah, it says here in just 7 more years, he will turn 100 and enter what is guaranteed to be his second century of success? So if something's guaranteed, it means it's going to happen for certain. You can bet on it. It's definitely going to take place. So I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to be popular. That is, if we can ever get back to, these amusement parks and theme parks again. I'm ready to go on a long vacation. Right now, though, before we do that, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher.
再来，我们看第4题前一句 Mickey is portrayed as a simple and considerate character in his many animated adventures. 在他的许多动画冒险中 Mickey 被刻画成一个天真又体贴的角色。第4题的题干 These characteristics make him blah 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 and are part of the way that he 这个句子我们看一下到底第4题有哪些选项。 A. Exotic 是异国风情的奇特的。 B. Sympathetic 注意哦，这里不是同情的意思，而是讨人喜欢的，能引起共鸣的。 C. Miserable 是痛苦的悲惨的。D. Vulnerable 是脆弱的，容易受伤的。前一句提到 Mickey 这个角色天真体贴，这些特征应该是会让 Mickey 讨喜吧，所以第4题答案选 B. Sympathetic。 最后第5题 In just 7 more years he would turn 100 and enter 空格 is guaranteed to be his second century of success。 这句话的意思是再过7年 Mickey 要满100岁了，进入空格保证会是他第2个成功的事迹。好，这一题是在考文法，那我们要看一下，其实这里应该要填 what 这个复合关系代名词。什么是复合关系代名词啊？其实你可以把它理解成关系词，不过呢，它是不需要有先行词的，不需要前面有个名词当它先行词，那它就相当于 the thing that， 后面呢其实都会引导一个子句，那我们呢把它视为名词。句子里面名词子句这个空格之后 What is guaranteed to be his second century of success？ 那我们就知道，其实这个是当做前面的动词 enter 的受词，空格呢是子句的主词。好，必须要是名词，所以我们答案选的是 A what。以上就是我们针对这一篇克漏字选择综合测验所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. So, yes, indeed, we're going to celebrate the birthday of Mickey Mouse this year. He turns 93 this year. And then we'll wait and see when we can celebrate the birthdays of Donald Duck and Goofy and the Beagle Boys and other Disney characters that we all know and love so much. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye. See ya.